In today's video, I'll show you how to assemble the Televes V-Zenit Mix outdoor TV antenna step by step. The first step in assembly is getting the antenna's front directors set up in the right position, and I'll explain that now. There's these little tiny indexing pins that are molded into the plastic housing for the front directors. Now what these are for is to set the channel selection geometry. That's a feature built into this Televes antenna. If you align these holes with the top and bottom pins, then what that does is give you a set of directors that is much more open, like this. And if you align them with the inner plastic pins, that gives you a set of directors that are closed. Now, for the North American TV market, it's probably best to leave these in the closed position. The benefit to setting the directors like this in the closed position is that it changes the frequency response of the antenna to create a buffer zone between the over-the-air TV channels up to RF channel 36 and the frequencies above that, which used to be used for over-the-air broadcast TV. They're now being used for cell phone frequencies, in particular LTE and 4G signals. So by closing the directors on this antenna, you're actually creating a filtering effect that will keep those LTE and 4G signals from bothering your TV signal. And with that in mind, the assembly can begin. The main boom will sit inside one half of the plastic housing. There are alignment pins to position it, along with those front directors positioned in the way that is best for your TV reception situation. Again, North America, you probably want to have those directors closed. And then install the other half of the main plastic housing. It will snap together, and then it is held in place with two screws. Remember that these screws are going into plastic, so do not use a drill. Hand tighten these only, and do not overdo it. Next, we'll install the metal bracket that holds the UHF reflectors in place. Find the metal bracket that looks like this and install the two plastic clips. Make sure they're swung outward like this so they're ready for the next step. And then you're going to take the other half of the bracket and sandwich it around the boom, lining it up with that single hole in the middle, and then slide a bolt through, and the bolt will engage in the threads on the other half of the bracket, and you tighten it down with the included 10mm wrench. Next, we'll install the UHF reflectors on the antenna. Pay attention to the finished end of the reflector compared to the unfinished end. Make sure that the finished end is facing outward. Slide the reflector into the locking cam there. Make sure that those little black clips are swung outward to allow the reflector to slide in fully, and then press that clip in and it'll snap in place, locking the reflectors in. Next, slide the mast clamp onto the main boom right behind the UHF reflectors and tighten it down with the included 10mm wrench. Next, we'll install the rear part of the main boom. This is an extension piece that holds the VHF reflectors to the antenna, and it's going to be a repeat of the first set of reflectors. Sandwich that clamp around the boom, lining it up with the single hole. Pay attention to those plastic clips. Make sure they are swung outward so that you can slide the reflectors in later, and a single bolt will sandwich the clamp around the boom. Tighten it down with the 10mm wrench. And then this assembly gets bolted to the back of the main boom. Slide the plastic insert inside the boom and fasten it with a carriage bolt and nut using the 10mm wrench. And now the VHF reflectors, make sure that the finished end is facing out. Open up the clip all the way and slide the reflectors in till they're fully seated in those brackets, and then snap them down. And now the active element can get snapped into place. There is a square notch that fits around the underside of the boom, and then you can just slide that right in and it snaps in to the main plastic housing. And as an aside, when you install the main active element on this antenna, there's a little tiny barb on the top of the active element that bites into the main boom of the antenna. So what you have there is full shielding continuity from the coax cable through the boom and the mast clamp all the way through the antenna. The included wrench has an open back, so it slides right over those long U-bolts, making it nice and easy to snug down that mast clamp. Stay tuned for a full review of the Televes V-Zenit mix antenna in an upcoming video.